Hi everyone, it's Phil from Ashland Leather, and we're back again with some new limited releases. Everything we're about to look at in the video today is a preview of what will be released tomorrow, December 10th at 6 p.m. Central Time. And 6 p.m. Central Chicago time is a little bit later than we normally do these drops. So just a heads up to everybody out there that's interested in one of these, we're changing the date and changing the time. Okay, first up is a really fun piece of leather. This is a tumbled deerskin, and this deerskin was originally just a trial run for Horween. In fact, they decided to not proceed with that trial leather. So we've got some of the only leather that exists from Horween in deerskin. And this leather tannage here is actually called Derby. So it's just like Horween's Essex leather, which is vegetable tanned in the same way as shell cordovan. They apply a little bit of wax to the grain and then tumble it. So you get this really interesting broken up effect. And on the deerskin here, this is a brown color. So we've got a little bit darker on the surface, slightly more taupe, but certainly still more of like a mocha brown underneath. And this wallet style here looks like the Fat Herbie, but it's actually intended for passport. So it's a little bit taller with an open slot on the right side. We're calling this one a prototype because we left it open on both sides. So you can fit 2 passports in here and 2 credit cards. And then the bill slot in the back, this will fit all paper currency from every country in the world. Along those same lines, this is a late edition. The team just gave me this special piece. This is another traveler passport holder that is just like the Fat Herbie, but a little bit taller. It's about a 1/4 inch taller than our normal Fat Herbie. And this is a special piece with a good color combination. We've got some black Dublin on top of royal blue Cypress for the exterior. Nice waxed and burnished edge that turned out great. And then on the interior, we've got some more royal blue Cypress with hidden card slots. So it's not stitched down underneath here. It's all the way open with 2 card slots on the top. And we've got a lot of stunners to show you today. This is our Tony the Ant wallet style, kind of like the Fat Herbie, but shrunken down. We've got the same exterior bill slot. And this is a beautiful piece of natural shell cordovan. I'm going to spin it around because the natural shell has a really dynamic range of colors. Some angles it's a little bit lighter and some angles it's a little bit darker. This one is hand stitched with a pea green color stitching, and we've got this natural shell sitting on top of a piece of reverse natural. Let's take a look at the inside where we've got some marbled green shell cordovan. Sometimes the marbled green is a little bit difficult to see because at certain angles it appears lighter and other angles a little bit darker, but it certainly has a color range that's more of like a bronze with a little bit of green in it. And then the inside centerpiece here, that was the natural that was flipped around on the backside. We've got some natural shell cordovan in the center. Up next, this might be my favorite piece in the whole drop today. This is whiskey shell cordovan on our vertical 8-slot Bugs Moran, and this one has been hand stitched. So whiskey shell cordovan is kind of similar to the natural shell, although it's much more golden brown, slightly darker and more yellow when you compare it to the natural shell cordovan. Nice waxed and burnished edges on this guy. And then the interior, we've got those 8 card slots I mentioned. There's 6 vertical card slots with 2 hidden card slots underneath each side. And then this one has more whiskey shell cordovan on the inside, but we've got some marbled color 8 shell for the middle 2 card slots. Let's keep it going here with one of my favorite leathers. And I've been trying to make gray happen for a while. If you guys have been sticking around to the channel here for a bit, over the summer this year, we did a drop of different gray leathers and try to get a sense of if people are interested in that color. So this leather right here is Horween's Latigo leather in a gray finish, and then we've got a lizard texture on top of it. We also have some natural waxed and burnished edges for this piece, and because it has been drum dyed, those edges appear slightly gray. And then the interior, we have more of that gray lizard latigo, and the team made some special combinations here. We're going to bundle these together. We've got some hand glazed reverse cigar shell cordovan on a lighter and lighter sheath, as well as on our key fob. And these are really fun because we've got the Horween USA measuring machine stamp on the back of this one, as well as on the lighter. So they pair up very nicely together. These are also hand stitched. And another hand glazed reverse set. This is also a lighter and key fob, although this is hand glazed reverse natural. And when I say hand glazed, what that means is we've polished in and filled in the reverse side of the leather to make it a little bit more shiny and bright, like you can see on the key fob here. Normally, the reverse side of shell cordovan is a little bit more of a matte finish, and we do a little bit of extra effort to fill them in on some pieces to get you that glazed in look. So this should give you a sense of how reverse cordovan will wear in naturally, but hand glazing it sort of expedites that process for you. All right, I've got another brand new prototype to show you. This is sort of like a modification on our Vic snap wallet, although it's combined with the small zip. So we're calling this a prototype Vic snap wallet. This is in the blue Bison leather. The color on this is incredible, and sometimes it's hard for me to show just how nice it is in the videos. but the undertones of this leather are more of an electric blue, where the surface color is a little bit more of like the denim blue shell cordovan color. It's a little bit darker on the peaks of the texture and more of an electric blue underneath. So this is like the Vic snap wallet where we have that snap closure, but the interior, we have a gusseted card section that's very similar to our small zip wallet. And in addition to that, we've also got one extra card slot on the back in English tan Dublin. And then those gussets were also English tan. So a good combination between blue and English tan. We have two more of these prototype wallets. This one is in the Bourbon Bison from Horween. This is the latest and greatest Bison leather from Horween. It's veg tanned. And then you've got that incredible natural shrink texture. And then it's been hand tipped as well. So you get that color contrast. The Bourbon is a little bit more of like this tan color that you can see on the reverse side of the leather in the valleys of that texture, and a little bit more of a darker mocha brown on the surface. This one also has English tan Dublin for the gusseted section, and then another English tan Dublin card slot on the back. And we did one more in the blue Bison of these prototype Vic snap wallets. Now, each of these are going to have their own product pages, and that's because this one has the Horween measuring machine stamp on the back slot here. All right, we've got plenty more to show you. This is our small zip wallet that I was referencing earlier in raw denim shell cordovan. And you can see the raw blue shell here has a little bit of a mild sheen to it, but it is nowhere near as glossy and bright and shiny like a normal piece of shell in my right hand here. So denim blue shell cordovan, nice light blue shade. You can see a little bit of modeling and streaks in that color. We've got this one contrasting with a yellow color stitching along the outside that hints to the yellow latigo horsehide on the interior. I think this yellow and blue combination is great. We also have a few pieces in a really special cordovan color. This is violet shell cordovan on our Bugs Moran wallet. You can see the violet shell is much more of like a straightforward purple when you compare it to something like the ultraviolet shell cordovan. On the edges of this one, we have a waxed and burnished edge. And then the interior, we have more violet shell cordovan with some reverse splatter and hand glazed pieces on the top. This is another exceptional piece of shell cordovan. What you want to see in shell cordovan is a bright shine, a very mirror-like finish. And that's exactly what we have on this Bugs Moran here. On the natural shell cordovan, this is the color that most people prefer for patina. And this is just a perfect example of shell cordovan. It should have a nice rich feel and a smooth surface as well. So this is our Bugs Moran wallet, natural wax and burnished edges. We have the vertical card slots on the inside. This is all natural shell cordovan. We also stock these with a different stamp, but this one has the baby Ashland stamp on the bottom right. And check this out. We've got another incredible piece of violet shell cordovan. Really digging this purple color, and the tannery does not make this shade very often. So it's really special to see. So we got a Fat Herbie here in violet shell cordovan, natural wax and burnished edges that does a nice job framing out this color. On the interior, we've got more violet shell cordovan with some hidden card slots underneath each of the sides. And we looked at the vertical Bugs Moran. This is a vertical Tony the Ant. It's very similar to that vertical Bugs, except we have the exterior bill slot like the Tony the Ant. This one is in natural shell cordovan, natural wax and burnished edge, and we've got a reverse cordovan interior with all those vertical slots. Here we have a Tony the Ant in denim blue shell cordovan, and we can see the bright shine of a normal piece of blue shell. So I brought back the small zip wallet in the raw denim. You can really see the difference there in the color. It's almost like the glazing of the leather deepens and darkens the shade just a little bit, slightly more vibrant, a little bit less green when the tannery applies the finish to the top of the leather. It's very interesting, but the big takeaway is the luster. You can see the denim blue polished shell on the left here is much more glassy and shiny, where the raw denim doesn't have as much luster to it. So denim blue shell cordovan, nice aqua blue shade. Sometimes those darker blues like navies can read a little bit black, especially in something like a wallet. So we've been starting to prefer the denim blue shell cordovan color. This one also has a waxed and burnished edge, and the interior, we have some marbled color 8 shell cordovan. Now here are some wallets that I'm very excited about. We haven't made many of these, and we're calling them the Lucky Card Holder with a skip stitch. The first one here is in my favorite shell color. This is amaretto shell cordovan, although this specific piece of amaretto shell is slightly darker and more brown than most of the amaretto I see. You can see more of what I envision amaretto ought to be at this angle, and at other angles it's a little bit darker, but let me spin that around because the directionality of the color is very extreme. So Lucky Card Holder here is designed around our Lucky Flap wallet that you might be familiar with. The Lucky Flap wallet has a flap closure to cover all of this, and the Lucky Card Holder, we just omitted that completely. So we have 2 card slots on the front, 2 on the back, and then we have this open slot in the center that's only been stitched in an L shape here, and this gives you easy access to cards or cash cash just to put on the inside. A couple more lucky card holders to show you. This one is in denim blue shell cordovan. Got that nice gold foil Ashland stamp in the center. Hand stained edges to match on this one. 2 card slots on the front, 2 on the back, and that same skip stitch on the right side. And we have 2 more lucky card holders. This one also has a nice gold foil stamp. This is cigar shell cordovan, the most true and dark brown shade that Horween has. We also have a matching hand stained edge for this guy. One last lucky card holder. This is a new color to us. This is the Armagnac shell cordovan. It's slightly lighter in color when you compare it to the cigar. If you're looking for a nice true brown in a slightly lighter shade, I think the Armagnac is good to go. 2 card slots on the front, 2 on the back, and that same skip stitch with hand stained edges. And now we have some vertical Frank the Enforcers. This was a customer request that we started doing, and it seems like it's been a pretty big hit. So we've got Epic Splatter reverse ultraviolet card slots on the front. That's sitting on some violet shell cordovan. We've also hand glazed in this piece of reverse so you can really see that bright shine that we've applied to it. On the back, we have violet shell cordovan, and this one has been hand stitched with a purple thread. And each of these will get their own product pages. Here's another one with that Epic Splatter. Every time we have the splatter, we try to make a unique product page. So whatever you see in the photos is exactly what you're going to get. And one more vertical Frank the Enforcer. This is cigar shell cordovan on top of marbled cigar for the top, also hand stitched with a brown thread for this guy, and then marbled shell cordovan on the back. And this is a really cool look. It's sort of got a streaky pattern on this specific piece of marbled shell. I did a live stream last week showing people of me taking photos of each of these wallets, and this one seems to have created quite a stir. People have been asking us to get this one in advance, and we're not holding any of these in advance. We just think it's a little bit unfair. So first come, first serve on these. Again, that's going to be available at 6 p.m. tomorrow, December 10th. So this is raw natural shell cordovan with a Western texture on our Tony the Ant wallet. It's really nice, mild sheen to the raw shell here, but that Western texture really makes the color pop. And then the interior, we have more of that Western raw natural. And here's one of my favorite wallets that we don't do very often anymore. This is a minimalist wallet made out of one piece of leather. We call it the Machine Gun Jack, and it's an asymmetrical card holder. The really special thing about this one is the leather on this is a version of Horween's Chromexcel leather that is pit tanned. So this is actually a leather that was tanned for mechanical purposes. So they call it Chromexcel M's, M for mechanical. And again, it's pit tanned, full grain. It has a different stuffing blend, so it's a little bit more dense than the classic Chromexcel. And because this one is completely full grain, it does have a little bit more texture. All right, let's look at some confusing leather here. This is inverted shell cordovan in a color called inverted black. And the inverted black is a little weird because it appears more of like a bronze to me with black streaks. The long story short here is we wanted some of the splatter to appear on the bright shiny piece of the shell as opposed to on the back side. So Horween finished this leather upside down for us, and this was the result. So inverted black, a little bit more of like a golden caramel with black streaks. This is our Bugs Moran wallet with a cream color hand stitching. And the inside here, it actually looks kind of like the inverted black, but this is marbled cigar shell cordovan. And I have one more here in the inverted black, similar color range, but different streaking. So each of these will have their own product pages. And then on the inside, more of the marbled cigar shell cordovan. Here's another vertical 8-slot Bugs Moran. This time we have it in the brown Cypress leather. If you're not familiar with the Cypress, this is a really tough and resilient leather. It's become a hit for us on some of the other wallet styles like the Giant the Fox, as well as the Bugs Moran and the Capone Money Clip. This one is very simple, a little bit taller than a normal card holder, and that's because we have the 8 slots with 6 of them being vertical on the interior. Very similar to the last one, another vertical 8 slot, but this time we've got a color combo. Brown Cypress on the outside with English tan Dublin on the inside. And people have been asking us for some more Tony the Ant. So we've got some marbled color 8 shell cordovan on this Tony the Ant, and it's got a really cool color range and texture on this specific piece of cordovan. I believe this is marbled color 8 shell cordovan on the outside, and on the inside we've got some reverse cordovan. And this wallet has also been hand stitched. Let me show you what these stamps mean on the left. Each piece of leather that Horween ships has a stamp that looks just like this. It says Horween USA at the top, 1.4 square feet, and then the bottom here tells us what date it was measured. And another Tony the Ant here, marbled color 8 shell cordovan for the exterior with marbled color 8 and cigar on the interior. And we have one Frank the Enforcer classic in the video today. We've been making these every drop, which you may have noticed, and this is because people keep asking us for it. So this is hand glazed, all reverse color 8 shell cordovan on our Frank the Enforcer, and that hand glazing really gives it a nice glassy shine with all that random texture and color underneath. So Frank the Enforcer, natural waxed and burnished edges, and then more of the Epic Splatter hand glazed reverse on the back. We've got a short length 18 millimeter raw natural watch strap here, and this one has been hand stitched. These are called whip stitches at the top. And let's drop in some lighters to end the day. So here's a reverse cigar shell cordovan lighter sheath with a hand stitching that matches very nicely. The reverse cigar is almost like a greenish brown. Here's another one in reverse, I believe this is reverse whiskey, maybe reverse natural, but certainly a little bit more golden than normal natural colors. This one has the nice measuring machine stamp we were talking about. It's also been hand stitched. Here's a fun one with 2 compounding descriptors. We've got tumbled, marbled color HL cordovan, and the leather has been marbled and then they tumble it afterwards, so you get a really extreme texture and color range. Here's another one that is reverse ultraviolet, and this is Epic Splatter reverse. And the last one of the day is another reverse natural with that great Horween ink stamp. So let's come back to this raw natural with the Western texture tone of the ant. I'm going to pick this one for my stunner of the day, but there were so many hits in here. I don't know which one to pick, but this is certainly the one that has been getting the most amount of attention after that last live stream. So again, everything that you just looked at in the video will be made active on our website, ashlandleather.com. And you can find this under the new tab at the top called Limited Release at 6 p.m. Central Time tomorrow, December 10th. Thank you so much for checking out the video today. Let me know which one of these was your stunner of the day. And until next time, hope you have a good one.